Thought I'd tell a story. It's my favorite kind of story. It's about me. I did a dual ordination program. This might be news to some of you, but I think I talk about it quite a bit. I was ordained as a rabbi and a cantor at the same time. I know I've talked about it. And I've talked about how, I'm not sure I've talked about how it was really hard. I've talked about the content. I've given teachings that are about the material and about the classes I took. And certainly that's true, that the content of a rabbinical school and cantorial school is challenging, as I think it should be. But the program itself was very difficult. I didn't realize when I matriculated, I think is the word, like when I signed up for the Rav Chazan program at Hebrew College, I didn't realize that the program didn't really exist. I was the first person to do it from start to finish. The program was advertised on the website. They happily took my tuition dollars. But what wasn't clear to me at the beginning is that it was actually just rabbinical school and cantorial school. I sort of thought, that a Rav Chazan program would include some communication between the two schools and have, advisors and a schedule. And in fact, that was not the case. There was a rabbinical program, a cantorial program, and then me was invited to try to do both. This caused some amount of stress, quite a bit of stress and pain for me. It was difficult for me for 6 years at Hebrew College, and the school knows this. If any of them are watching or here, we've had these conversations. I had to remind often the cantorial school faculty that, hey, I can't do this because I have this commitment to the rabbinical school, and I had to remind the rabbis often that cantors exist. But there's still some, I feel still some disappointment in how that experience went for me. But while I was there at Hebrew College for 6 years, it was really hard. I felt quite a bit of anger, quite a bit of frustration in the situation. And I felt that there were a number of things they should have figured out, they should have thought to discuss before they put the program on the website. I remember in Shana Aleph, so my first year, might have been Shana Bet, my first or second year in the dual program, I was scheduled for Biblical Hebrew as my rabbinical school class, and I believe Rosh Hashanah Nusach as my cantorial school class at the same time, Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. And so I went to one teacher, and I went to the other teacher. I said, what do we do? How do we make this work? I had what I thought was a plan with both of them and my advisor, and it worked for a couple weeks and ultimately fell apart. So I went back to each teacher, I went to my advisor, I went to the deans of the programs, and I asked, what should I do? And it felt like I just sort of was pushed off from one faculty member to the next with no real answers. And I remember I got so frustrated, I got so mad. And it wasn't only the inconvenience and the frustration of this situation, of course, but it was the buildup, right? I'd been at the school for a couple of years now and trying to make my way through this program that was very meaningful to me. And it was the buildup of many what I found to be frustrating and inconvenient situations. So I sent an email to the biblical Hebrew teacher and the Nusach teacher, and the dean of the rabbinical school, and the dean of the cantorial school, and the registrar of the rabbinical school, and the registrar of the cantorial school, and my academic advisors in both programs as well. I think the email was to 8 or 9 people. Keep in mind the Hebrew College faculty is probably only 20 or 30 people. And I sent this email that I almost printed it to read it to you today, and I was too embarrassed. But I sent this email that basically said, do your jobs. How is this possible? You advertised this program on the website, and here I am having to figure out for myself which class I'm supposed to take on which day. Figure it out. I've kind kind of brought down the tone of the email a little bit because we're in synagogue, but that's the gist of it anyway. I said it a little bit meaner. To their credit, well, they didn't really fix it, but to their credit, they responded to my email. I heard from each one of these 7 or 8 teachers and advisors that day. Most of them said, okay, thank you for your email. Here's what you should do. Here's the class you should take. Rabbi Daniel Klein, who was my advisor, and story for another time, one of the reasons I found Hebrew College and ended up there at all, responded differently. While everyone else sort of addressed the problem, Daniel called me on the phone and said 2 things. 1, he said, "You're right. We haven't done this before. We didn't see this. It is our job. You're right. I hear you." And 2, he said, "You can't talk like that. You can't use that tone if you actually want people to listen to you and help you and be willing to work with you." Now, he was right. This is not the kind of story where I say, can you believe he said that to me? He was right. He was absolutely right. I ended up getting the answer I needed, and I mean, I passed all my classes, and I'm in front of you today, so it worked out, but it was really hard. I think mostly I learned from that situation how important it is to speak up, to offer feedback when something is not right, and how important it is to not let things bottle up, not let them fester. Because this was frustrating. I stand by the fact that it shouldn't have been my job. But I know the email that I sent that day was the result of frustrations over months and many different situations. And so I'm left wondering, what if I had shared them sooner? Perhaps some of this could have been avoided. I think about this today in relation to the commandment, Tochecha, Tochecha. We're instructed in our Torah reading today to offer rebuke. You shall not hate your kin in your heart, reprove your kin, but incur no guilt on their account. It's a commandment in 3 parts. Don't hate your kin. Don't let it get to that point of anger and frustration and awful feelings, and don't let it be heavy on you for so long that you don't know what to do about it. Rather, Tochecha, Tochecha et amitecha, offer feedback to your to your people, to those closest to you. Rebuke them when needed. And what does this rebuke look like? Lo tisa alav chet, the verse ends. Don't do it in a way that you sin by offering this feedback. Don't yell at them, don't shame them, don't cause harm to them. Don't say, this isn't my job, it's your job, you idiots. I didn't say that, but neither shall we say that. We're taught that tochecha, that rebuke, must come from love. It has to come from a place of wanting to make better. Make ourselves better, make our peers better, our families, and each one of our relationships. It's important that we push ourselves to be willing to hear tochecha, to be willing to hear and accept and receive tochecha with humility, and offer it with love. And this is true for each one of our relationships, our friendships, our relationships with students and with our teachers, with our friends and family members, with our spouses, with our community members here at synagogue. Joey and Sophia touched on what I think is the hardest part of this in their Divrei Torah. That we can't only do Jewish tradition when it's easy, right? We can't only rebuke those with whom we're not in relationship, or those who we know we always already disagree with, or those who, there's nothing at stake for us when we offer this feedback. The mitzvah is hocheach, tocheach et amitecha. Rebuke, offer this feedback to your people, to those who you love, those with whom you are in deep and meaningful relationship. These are the people we have to be ready to receive hard feedback from, and in turn give it when it's needed. It's not easy, Right? The story I shared is of a time I failed at this. And the story ends that I did learn, right? I got better, more communicative with the faculty at school. My frustrations didn't end fully, but I offered feedback when I felt it was needed, calmly, respectfully, from a place of wanting to make the program and the school better. I think a lot about my advisor, Danielle Klein, as the model for this mitzvah, because it's a hard one. We're commanded to be able to hear with humility and share in a way that is clear, assertive, and loving. So today, this week, and moving on, I pray that we each commit to our relationships, give each other this gift of honesty and vulnerability so that we may increase the listening and the love between one another in our community and in our world. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with the Musaf service as Kenner Abrams will lead us, page 155, and we'll go immediately into the Amida, which Kenner Abrams will begin on 156b.